Alright guys, welcome back to an episode of the Patreon Sim Dynasty. I have Central Michigan this week. Let's see what happened last week. Army ends up beating down Ball State 42-21, doubled the score, and it was never really a close game. They scored 21 points, Paul made it 21-14, and then Army never looked back after that. Taking a look at the stats, 21 first downs, 375 yards total offense, 52 rushes for 305 yards and 6 touchdowns, 8 for 15 for 70 yards, 10 for 13 on third down. That's a heck of a stat. And 6 for 7 in the red zone. Only missing out on one opportunity, but didn't turn the ball over at all. So great job by Army. Rice ends up beating UTEP 31-19 to continue his role in the Conference USA. Just one of those games. There's a lot of back and forth, and it looked pretty close for the most part. And then Rice just kept getting touchdowns. Taking a look at the stats, Rice 27 first downs, 502 yards total offense, 45 rushes for 238 and a touchdown, 18 for 26 for 264 and 3 touchdowns. That was a pretty balanced game yard-wise. I mean, rushes to pass attempts, not so much, but yard-wise it was. 7 for 10 on third down, pretty good stat. 0 for 1 on fourth, but 100% in the red zone with the 1 turnover. Solid game by Rice. ECU ends up knocking off UConn in the battle of the users. UConn not able to score at all in the third quarter. Looks like that cost them this game. It was, 20-24 at the half, and then not scoring in the third quarter hurt UConn unable to bounce back, even though they did score 20 in the fourth. Taking a look at the stats, UConn 17 first downs, 381 yards of total offense, 28 rushes for 119 and a touchdown, 22 for 43 for 262 and 3 touchdowns, 9 for 17 on third down, 0 for 1 on fourth down and 2-point conversion. However, 4 for 4 in the red zone with no turnovers means he played pretty good. ECU, however, 24 first downs, 595 yards of total offense, 26 rushes for 145 and 2 touchdowns, 27 for 36 for 450 and 5 touchdowns. ECU just went off this game. 6 for 9 on third down and 7 for 8 in the red zone. Even with 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles, and 2 picks, still put up those kind of stats and still got the pretty dominating win. And Charlotte continues to show promise in conference, winning over Louisiana Tech 31-10, and Louisiana Tech didn't score until garbage time. They were up 31-0 before Louisiana Tech even scored anything. Taking a look at the stats, 21 first downs, 374 yards of total offense, 49 for 165 and 4 touchdowns on the ground, 16 for 26 for 209, no touchdowns, 7 for 15 on third down, not bad. You want that over 50% or higher, but it is what it is. And then 100% in the red zone, whereas the defense only allowed 263 yards and set them back 4 for 14 on third down, and the only time they were in the red zone they had to settle for a field goal. So Charlotte came to play today. Looking at the matchups this week, I play Central Michigan, Wyoming and Utah State, Army and Iowa State, UConn and Cincinnati, Charlotte and Southern Miss, ECU and South Florida, Rice and number 4 ranked Houston. Kirk's picking us to win this week. No real surprise there. We got some people visiting, a wide receiver and a halfback, so kind of excited about that. We have the number 1 pass offense, but they have the number 21 ranked pass defense. They're pretty good against the pass, and we need to be able to shut them down. They also throw the ball a lot more than the other teams have been, so we're kind of shaded a little bit more towards that. But hopefully we can come out and get this win and continue our roll in conference. All right, let's get done with the advance, and we ended up winning pretty handily, 42-7. 28 points in the second quarter definitely helped. A couple of big passes by Morgan. Morgan's tearing it up for a younger guy. He played a little bit last year, but definitely shining this year. Checking out the team stats, 24 first downs, 487 yards of total offense, 38 rushes for 142 and 3 touchdowns. That's pretty good for us. 27 for 38 for 345 and 3 touchdowns. That's really good for us. 10 for 14 on third down. That's the type of third down percentage that I like to see. There we go. It's not no 30%. It's not 40%. It's 71%. 100% in the red zone. Even with the 2 interceptions, still put up those kind of stats. Charlotte ends up losing for the 3rd time all season, first time in conference to Southern Miss. They did work, man. 41-7. Charlotte scored first, and then they scored right off the bat. It must have been a huge kick return, followed by a little, or fumbled or something, botched kick. I don't know. But somehow they scored within 5 seconds of the game starting. So that was it for them, and then they never got close again. Taking a look at 12 first downs, 261 yards of total offense, 34 rushes for 149 and a touchdown, 11 for 20 for 112, 3 for 13 on third down. That's the percentage I don't want. 23%, that's not great. 1 for 2 on fourth down, 50%, even worse, in my opinion, because you probably turn the ball over in a real good field position. But no turnovers, just a lot of punts, a lot of penalties. and not able to convert on third down. ECU ends up losing as well this week, 33-14. This game was pretty much over at the half. They scored with a minute and 24 before the half, so they got some points there, but it was nothing, man. It was like already 27-0 at that time. So 27-7 going into half. They just kind of coasted after that. Taking a look at the stats, 11 first downs, 312 yards total offense, 22 rushes for 43 yards. You need more than that with that many rushes. 15 for 34 for 269, 2 touchdowns. That's not bad. 4 for 14 on third down. Horrible 0 for 2 on fourth down. Even worse. Golly, man. And like progressively got worse there. Not able to convert. Hurts you sometimes, and that's a perfect example of it. One turnover probably didn't cost him the game, but it is what it is. Not that many punts. I mean, 3 more. Hardly any penalties. Just not able to get first downs. UConn back in the win column for the first time in conference. He did all right. He was down early though, 10-0, thanks to a pick 6, and then he retaliated with 21 unanswered. Take a look at the stats: 22 first downs, 377 yards of total offense, 36 rushes for 177 and a touchdown, 18 for 30 for 200 even and 2 touchdowns. 3 for 10 on third downs is bad, but not as bad as they did with 4 for 17. 100% in the red zone, way better than what they did over 2. They missed opportunities for them, cost them this game, and not able to capitalize on the turnovers. UConn did what it took to win and got the W. Army knocks off Iowa State, and they gave them a little scare at the end with 14 points in the fourth, but it was pretty much an all Army game. I mean, they were down 14-7 at the end of the first quarter, and then 28 unanswered. A return punt. Wow, that's the first, I think, punt return or kick return by any of the user teams this season. That's a heck of a way to have a second quarter going to the half, dude. Golly. Taking a look at the stats: 25 first downs, 492 yards of total offense, 39 rushes for 252 yards and 4 touchdowns. And threw the ball really well, 12 for 18 for 240 and a touchdown. I mean, he threw for almost as many yards on 17 less attempts. Golly. 4 for 8 on third down. That's what you need. And even 50%, 100% in the red zone. No turnovers. It was just a good back and forth game. The penalties almost cost him, but not enough today. Army gets the win. Rice ends up knocking off, I'm pretty sure, at the time of the game, it was number 4 ranked Houston. So Rice just beat a number 4 ranked Houston team, the top 5 team in the nation. Holy crap, and they beat them in decisive fashion, man. 42-16. They were up, was it 21-0? 21-7 at the half, and they just kept staying ahead, dude. Never let Houston come back in it. Looking at the stats: 27 first downs, 508 yards of total offense, 46 rushes for 225 yards, 2 touchdowns, 22 for 26 for 283 and 4 touchdowns. For this Rice team being a more run-balanced team, they're throwing the ball extremely well. Only 4 incomplete passes, 6 for 11 on third down, 1 for 2 on fourth down, 5 for 6 in the red zone, no turnovers. About the same amount of penalties, didn't punt the ball. Just great game by Rice and a huge win. Utah State ends up knocking off Wyoming in the rivalry game, 42-21. Utah State just jumped out early, got a pick 6 too, and then just kind of stayed ahead. It's 21, like 14 points a quarter pretty much until the game was over. Taking a look at the stats: 18 first downs, 297 yards of total offense, 35 rushes for 112 and 2 touchdowns, 11 for 30 for 185 and a touchdown, 7 for 15 on third down. It's not bad. I mean, it's better than 30%, but you want it at least over 50. 2 for 2 in the red zone, scored every time he was there, but the turnovers hurt, as well as the penalties and punting the ball, just not able to convert enough when he needed to. Cost him this game. But looking at the matchups this week, I have Ohio, Wyoming, and Fresno State. Army and number 19 ranked Air Force. A little rivalry game there. UConn's got a bye week. Charlotte and FIU, ECU and UCF. And then Rice and Old Dominion. With our game against the Ohio Bobcats, we're looking to get the W. Kirk's picking us to win. Hopefully we can. They're a little bit better than us in some categories. It is what it is. I don't know how their B- is better than ours in overall rating, but whatever. I guess it's because they're better offensively with a B. So it doesn't make sense, but who cares? They're a little bit better at the run game than we are, because we are literally almost last. But we're number 1 pass offense. We like to throw that football, so that's what we're going to do. I've already made my adjustments. They're fairly decent against the pass, but they run the ball a lot more than they throw it. So we went a little bit more towards the run. Hopefully we can stop them and come out with a nice little win this week. All right, we just got done with the advance, and we got our butts kicked. Our first loss in conference is a bad one to Ohio, 38-7. It was never really a game. We didn't score till the third quarter, the end of the third quarter, and that's a backup quarterback. So maybe my starter got hurt. Hopefully not. We'll find out. Taking a look at the stats, yeah, 9 first downs, that's it. 197 yards of offense. Holy crap, dude, we got destroyed, man. 17 for 47 rushing, 17 for 34, and 150 and a touchdown passing. 5 for 14 on third down, 0 for 1 on fourth down, 100% in the red zone, and 3 turnovers. We did not play well at all. Army ends up winning in overtime in the rivalry game against Air Force. Weren't they ranked? I'm pretty sure they were ranked. But no longer. It was a good back and forth game. Took them all the way to overtime. Just solid, man. It would go Air Force and Army, Air Force and Army, Air Force and Army. And they held them when they needed to for the field goal. Taking a look at the stats, 28 first downs, 376 yards of total offense, 63 rushes for 341 yards and 2 touchdowns. 5 for 22 for 35 yards. It's the little 7 yards of pop, man. Something like that. Not a whole lot. 10 for 16 on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth down, 2 for 4 in the red zone. Could have been a way different game had they scored, but a couple of turnovers cost them. Rice also goes down for the first time in conference. Man, it's like we are even this whole season. Whenever he wins, I win. Whenever I lose, he loses. It just seems to be that way. He gets beat down by Old Dominion after the huge win over the number 4 ranked Houston team. So take that as you will. Rice didn't score until the end of the second quarter, and then a couple of field goals, and didn't score until the end of the game. But a 90-yard touchdown run. That looks good for the stat sheet. Taking a look at the stats, they should have won this game. 20 first downs, 427 yards of total offense, 36 rushes for 259 yards and 2 touchdowns, 16 for 25 for 168. They just couldn't stop their passing game and couldn't convert on third down when they needed to. 5 for 12. I mean, that's not bad, but it's not great either. 100% in the red zone, though, compared to their 75%. And the turnovers is probably what it was. Turnovers more than likely ruined perfectly good series, perfectly good drives. I mean, they had the stats for it. They didn't punt it any more than the other team. They just didn't put up points. ECU wins the rivalry game versus UCF. Pretty dominating fashion. Man, scored 14 right off the bat, and then just never looked way up 24-14 at the half. And it's kept the pedal to the metal. Pick 6 return, and it was just ball game, baby. Taking a look at the stats, 19 first downs, 386 yards of total offense, 26 rushes for 82 yards and a touchdown, 21 for 33 for 304 and 4 touchdowns. He's throwing the ball a lot better now, that's for sure. 3 for 10 on third, or 3 for 10, 6 for 10 on third down, great stat right there. 3 for 4 in the red zone. Had to settle for a field goal one time, but it's all good. He got the win and 2 turnovers, but he played lights out. Another little tidbit about ECU, he currently has the #1 recruiting class in the nation. Wyoming ends up topping Fresno State with a big second half. It was kind of back and forth the first half. And then Fresno State scored first, and Wyoming was like, nope, we're not going to let you. We're gonna try to pull away, and they end up doing it and getting the win. 27 first downs, 431 yards of total offense, 43 rushes for 198 yards, 21 for 32 for 233, and 5 touchdowns through the ball. Excellent. 8 for 12 on third down. Pretty good stat line there. 100% on fourth down and 4 for 5 in the red zone. Even with the turnovers, did enough to get the win. Only had to punt the ball 1 time. Charlotte is continuing his role, man. He's doing really good. Knocked off FIU for their first loss in their conference. And wins 35-24. It was just a good first quarter. Charlotte said, nope, we're taking over this game in the second and third. And didn't let them score in the fourth. Team stats, 16 first downs, 346 yards of total offense, 41 rushes for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns, 7 for 19 for 143 and 3 touchdowns, threw the ball and ran the ball pretty good. 3 for 11 on third down. That's the lone spot right there. It's a lone blemish on this other pretty good stat sheet. 100% on fourth down, 3 for 4 in the red zone with 1 turnover. He did a really good job. I mean, the stats doesn't show much of a difference between the two teams, but the final score does. But this week we have Miami University. Wyoming has number 19 ranked Arkansas, Army and Kent State, UConn and Navy. Charlotte has Rice in the conference battle. Should be a doozy to see who's gonna be the top of the conference. Maybe a look at the potential for their conference championship there. ECU and Temple, and then Rice, Connecticut. We have Miami University this week. Kirk's picking us to win, even though they're just a little bit better than us in some categories. Their defense is a little bit better, but we got the offense. We're putting up the points, and we are putting up the total offense per game. We got the #1 rush our #1 passing game in the nation. We're going to keep throwing it. Hopefully we can bounce back after this embarrassing loss last week and get ourselves a win. Got a couple people visiting this week, so definitely looking forward to getting some commits that we'll showcase in the next part. Alright, just getting on with the advance, and UConn ends up winning. They're on a roll right now, 2 wins in a row. 37-7. He was really worried about keeping his job or not, but he's feeling it. Whatever he changed is working. 17 points in the first, 10 in the fourth. Just kind of set the tone. He had, what was it, 24 unanswered points before they scored, and then another 13 after they scored. Taking a look at the stats, 20 first downs, 320 yards of total offense, 28 rushes for 127 and a touchdown, 17 for 38 for 193 and 3 touchdowns, 6 for 14 on third down, pretty good, almost 50%, and then 100% in the red zone, huge, got points no matter when and where he was, regardless if it's a field goal or touchdown, and that helped give him the win. ECU ends up dropping to Temple to give them their first win in conference and second win in the season, 34-14. They started out good. It was a solid 7-3 game, and then just were never able to score again till the fourth, and it was already too late then. Taking a look at the stats, 15 first downs, 287 yards of total offense, 23 rushes for 93 yards. It did not too good, and then 20 for 37 for 194 and 2 touchdowns, pretty good, but the 2 for 12 on third down, oh my goodness. That 100% killed him, and then only going 2 for 4 in the red zone for sure. Maybe a little too risky, don't know, or probably the turnovers I would assume since he had 3 of those. But that hurt tremendously. Army ends up beating Kent State 20-6, low scoring game, man. I mean, it was a 7-3, 10-3, then Army put up another 10 points. So it was 20-3, and then they scored, but nothing happened in the fourth. Taking a look at the stats, by the stats, Kent State should have won. It seemed like the turnovers not able to score in the red zone, but Army had 17 first downs, 275 yards of total offense, 43 rushes for 211 and 2 touchdowns, 7 for 18 for 64 yards and no touchdowns, 5 for 13 on third down, not great, but enough to get the job done, and then 4 for 5 in the red zone. He didn't turn the ball over, but his defense saved his bacon today. And we end up losing again. This time to Miami University. That's 2 in a row in conference, and that kind of ruins us right now. I'm not sure where we're sitting in conference. We'll check that here in a little bit. But they finished the first quarter strong and started the second half strong. My goodness, dude. They put up a lot of points. We were down 17-14, and then they scored 2 more times in the third, and we didn't score again till the fourth. But that's not my... Morgan isn't in again, so he keeps getting hurt for some reason. Taking a look at the team stats, yeah, we deserve to lose, man. 12 first downs, that's it. 360 yards of offense, 25 rushes for 71 yards and a touchdown. 21 for 33 for 289 and 2 touchdowns. 4 for 14 on third down. Horrible stat there. 100% on fourth, but only 1 for 2 in the red zone. We only got to the red zone twice, and we had 2 fumbles that were lost. Holy crap, man. We are in a downward spiral right now. Rice ends up knocking off Charlotte. They were doing pretty good. It's a good game until the fourth. We'll check to see what happened there. But a good back and forth. Rice scored first, then Charlotte tied it back up, and then Rice adds 10 more in the second to go up 17-10 at the half. But then Rice bounced right back with another 14 points to make it 21-24. But in the fourth, unable to complete the comeback as Rice was just too much to handle. Taking a look at the team stats, Charlotte, 19 first downs, 338 yards of offense, 34 rushes for 160 and 3 touchdowns, 11 for 26 for 178 and 1 touchdown, 7 for 11 on third down, great stat line there, 100% on fourth, 100% in the red zone, only 1 turnover. He had a pretty good game. I guess it was just a battle of who wanted it more. Rice with 23 first downs, 497 yards of total offense, 40 rushes for 172 and a touchdown, 15 for 25 for 325 and 3 touchdowns. He completed 15 passes for 325 yards. 9 for 13 on third down, 5 for 7 in the red zone. Not great, but enough, and only 1 turnover. It was a heck of a game, man. Wyoming ends up losing to the ranked Arkansas team. Arkansas just started off heavy and hard and never let them score till the end of the fourth. Taking a look at the stats, 14 first downs, 261 yards of total offense, 31 rushes for 105 yards and a touchdown, 12 for 36 for 156 and no touchdowns. They both threw the exact same amount of yards. That's crazy. 5 for 17 on third down. Horrible stat line there. Unable to convert when they needed to. 1 for 2 on fourth down and 1 for 2 in the red zone. Just not able to complete the objective and get points on the board and keep drives rolling. So taking a look at the conference standings, we are 0-2 in our division. Ohio and Miami University have both beat me, and that's not good. That might knock us out of contention for the conference championship, which we should be in. We need to win this week, that's for sure. The other side, Northern Illinois, Western Michigan, Ball State, and Toledo all fighting for that conference championship. Mountain West, Wyoming sitting pretty decent, just not faring too well in conference. 0-2 in their division as well. 3-2 in conference. Hopefully they can bounce back up and get to that conference championship. Over on the west side, it's pretty much anybody's game except for Fresno and Hawaii. Like, all these teams have the option to make it. In the American, Cincinnati and USF at the top, but ECU and Connecticut still fighting their way. They both have a real good chance to make it, if possible. Connecticut's played 6 games in conference. Hopefully, if they win out, they have a pretty good shot. But ECU's been faring pretty well as well in conference. On the other side, Tulsa and Houston both fighting it out, both ranked. Man, the American Conference is just dominating ranked teams this year for the group of 5. Conference USA, Charlotte's making a name, man. They're trying to make a case. I think they are the team that beat FIU. I'm fairly positive. If not, they got a good shot. But it's still anybody's game. All you got to do is win to make it. And then on the west side, Rice and UTEP fighting it out for conference superiority. Rice has only lost 2 games all season, 1 game in conference. All they got to do is keep winning. And they got the conference championship game locked up. Independence, Army tearing it up, dude. Army should be almost ranked. He's 7-2 compared to Notre Dame that's 6-2. But Army's played really well again this season. Taking a peek at the Heisman Watch, Foreman from Texas, Asbury from Army. Wow, we have a user-controlled sim player up for the Heisman. That's craziness, dude. And then Watson from Clemson, Franklin from Auburn, and McCaffrey from Stanford. So taking a look at the championship contenders, LSU number 1, then Michigan, Auburn, Washington, Georgia, Florida, Clemson, UCLA, Virginia Tech, and Texas. Rice is the first user team coming in at 35, then Army at 43, myself at 58, Wyoming at 75, Connecticut at 77, and Charlotte at 78, and then ECU coming in at 115. Taking a look at the injury report, Army's got a couple people out. Cole, I'm gonna try to say his last name, not gonna work. Broke his shoulder, out for the season. Swan, wide receiver, out for 8 weeks. Don't know if he'll make it to the bowl games or not, but not likely. And then Bradshaw, his starting quarterback, out for a week. And then we have our left outside linebacker and halfback both out 5 weeks with a torn tricep and a dislocated elbow. I don't think they'll make it back in time. I wish they would, because that's a 92 overall senior. Maybe that's why we're losing some games. Charlotte and Connecticut both have no injuries. ECU with a left guard with broken ribs out for 7 weeks. Rice has a left end out for another week and a corner out for 3 weeks. They should be able to make it back if he makes the conference championship and or bowl game. Wyoming with halfbacks out and a strong safety. Both halfbacks. Hill was hurt all of last season, so he got hurt again. This dude must be injury prone or something. Who knows? And then Hall broke her collarbone. The backup sophomore. That sucks, dude. And then Epps, the strong safety, broke a forearm, out for 5 weeks. But this week we have Kent State, Golden Flashes, Wyoming and Boise State, Army and Western Kentucky, UConn and UCF, Charlotte and UTEP, East Carolina, and UAB, and then Rice, UTSA. Speaking of our matchup with Kent State, we're projected to win again. They only have 2 arrows when they should only have 1, because we do have the better turnover difference, but holy crap, son, why are we losing? What's the problem? Our passing offense has dropped, but we're still number 1, still putting up a lot of points. We should win this game pretty easily. We average more than, or almost double the points that they have per game. So we just need to come out and start producing, man. We need to figure out what the heck's the problem. So taking a look at the recruiting board so far, I'm trying to secure my victory on a lot of these players if I can. This athlete, there's a lot of us fighting for. Ohio State's trying to get him, and then UConn also trying to get him, but we're wanting to seal the deal. Wyoming going to visit week 12, but we get to visit week 13 to hopefully propel us back up in the front and get the for sure commit. And a couple of these other guys we're also trying on. Then I added some more people to my board. These guys are just so I can get the pipeline states. A lot of the guys are talking about their pipelines. I was like 1, maybe 2 players. I think it was 1 away from a lot of people to get a new pipeline state. So I try to add them to my board regardless of what they were and see if I can keep that pipeline state or not. And then my commit so far, I got a kicker, an athlete, a wide receiver, a guard, strong safety, center, corner, athlete, and then fullback. So we definitely improved the team. but we're looking to make ourselves even better with some more recruits. But that's going to be it for this episode. Well, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.